Hi, I'm Colette, and this is Brooke.
I'm chewing ice. I'm Brooke.
And I'm Colette.
And this is Midlife Mutiny.
Welcome. Today is our top 10 list.
Yes, and we're acting like we do this normally, and we
don't.
It. We don't. It was a tip from my kid who's like, "Hey, people sometimes click on top 10 things." So since we're gonna just rocket our viewers into the stratosphere.
We're going to move from 350 followers to 3,000 followers just from doing a top 10
just
list.
This is it. We're going to break the internet.
So, for those of you who are interested, we each made up our list of our top 10 screenwriters. And we're going to tell you who they are, and you can look them up and watch their films and agree or disagree with us.
Yeah. Not maybe what you expected, because we both have our own particular tastes, and it's not necessarily the same as AFI or the books or, you know, what you might read in pretentious magazines. So,
but we always say, I mean, the movies that we write have one thing that no matter how different our opinions are, our styles are, when we write, all we care about is heart. So these are all writers who definitely bring heart to their writing, and that's why we respond to their films.
Yeah.
And these aren't in any particular order, too.
Yes, because I know everybody's very worried about that.
They are, yeah.
We're so making this up as we go.
Okay, starting on our top 10 list, Greta Gerwig. Nothing beats Little Women from last year. It was brilliantly adapted, and I give her, she directed it and wrote it, but I give her 1,000,000,000% credit for writing a gorgeous script.
Yeah, I was not a fan of the other Little Women scripts, and I fell in love with her version. I thought I thought there was special magic in that. So I agree as well. Me?
Yeah.
Okay.
We're switching up.
Mine, Cali Curry, Thelma and Louise. It's like the quintessential chick movie, and it was written so well, and she broke so many rules at the time, and she had such an uphill battle trying to keep her characters strong and unfettered by, you know, their role compared to men, and she had to fight a lot of battles, and there is a book about it
that your dad gave you.
Yes, and what is the name of it? I'm forgetting.
I'll get it for you.
Anyway, there's a book about it and how that movie got made, because it was unprecedented, and how people got behind it and eventually got it to Ridley Scott, and it became the movie that you see. And it all started with Callie Khouri, who was doing this between like PA gigs and in the middle of the night, you know, broke, and just because she wanted to write something. And
She's like the ultimate feminist too.
Yeah, it's like it's an iconic movie, it's an iconic script, and it's the story around it is amazing. And thank you, Off the Cliff by Becky Aikman. I friended her on Facebook because I was such a fan of this book. But anyway, Off the Cliff, about the story of getting Thelma and Louise made, and Cali Curry, one of the quintessential female screenwriters.
Another quintessential screenwriter who I personally love is Ernest Lehman. One of the reasons is I think a great screenwriter is someone who can write not only one killer script, but at least two. And he has three, which are in my just top 20 all-time list, which are The Sound of Music, West Side Story, and North by Northwest. So three very different films, three memorable classic films, and I thought he knocked it out of the park with all three of them.
Quentin Tarantino. Changed my life. I was in film school, and there were different camps when I was at NYU, and you had Spike Lee camp, you had the Woody Allen camp, you had the Scorsese camp, and I didn't really fit in any, and I wouldn't necessarily say I fit in Quentin Tarantino's, but I remember going to see Reservoir Dogs. And as I was watching it, I was so very aware. All I kept thinking was, this is changing all the rules. Like, this film right here, right now is changing all the rules. And whoever this guy is, I will follow him wherever he goes. And he never let me down. He kept surprising me in all things, some more than others. But I mean, if you go back and look at the structure of Pulp Fiction, it's freaking mind-boggling. And I appreciate it so much because I can't write that way. I couldn't write split up like that, like he does. But God, his dialogue is amazing. And he's prolific and he's gifted, in my opinion.
And talking, yes, I have a couple of huge Tarantino films that I'm a fan of, and again, it's the writing. And our next person, the person on my list, actually reminds me of Tarantino in a way, is Shane Black. When I teach, I always teach Kiss Kiss Bang Bang because that script breaks all the rules for me. I love his action lines. Writers, if you're looking for a script that, it follows the basic 3-act structure and stuff and has great dialogue, has great characters, but his action lines, I've never seen anything like it, and you have to read it. It's even better than the film. So Shane Black, who's made billions of dollars making huge blockbuster films, my favorite one, and the reason he's on our top 10 list is Kiss Kiss Bang Bang.
Yeah, he's the writer of Lethal Weapon, and he's become his own kind of meme in how he writes action. It's like cut to a Hollywood mansion, the kind that I will buy when I sell the script for $1 billion. It's very inside, it's very meta, and it's when people see that, they'll note it as Shane Black style references. So he's great. John Hughes,
Breakfast Club.
John Hughes, Breakfast Club.
Defined our generation.
Yeah, Breakfast Club is my favorite of his, and it was kind of a great indie movie if you think about it. Also, it was kind of
one location, 5 actors,
small cast, and he's from Chicago, and it's just he was the first screenwriter whose name I knew actually.
Mm. And I mean, he created the Brat Pack. It wasn't the actors; it was him.
Yeah,
in this
kind of
film. He created. We always talk about archetypes and the different archetypes of characters. He created the jock, the princess, the
prom queen, the nerd, the
bad guy.
The bad guy.
Oh.
I don't know if he created the bad guy.
Yeah. Everyone was good before the 80s.
And then bad guy came.
Yeah.
You go.
Okay, next on my list is an odd choice, but it's Emma Thompson. She was always one of my favorite actresses, and she's translated a lot of her talent into writing. And for me, Sense and Sensibility, I'm not a fan. I know you're not a fan of period pieces, but Sense and Sensibility, I thought, is one of the best scripts I've ever read and one of the best movies I've ever seen. And not only did she write it, she starred in it, which is super cool.
Yeah. I love her. I do love her. I just I don't get down with many period pieces. That's all. Huh? Stop that. My next one is James L. Brooks.
He was one of mine too.
Yeah, we shared him. My favorite was As Good as It Gets. I just thought the writing in that was so lovely. I loved Helen Hunt in it. I loved Jack Nicholson in it. I loved everybody in it. And I thought the writing was so lovely. There were some speeches in there that, while being hilarious, are also touching and poignant. I'm a huge fan of, I love comedy, but I love writing that is like people speak, that is accessible. And
that's why I liked his Broadcast News, one of my absolutely favorite films. All 3 characters in that were phenomenal, and that's a movie that every time it comes on, I'll just get lost. I'll sit and watch it, and 2 hours later, I'm like, what happened in the last 2 hours? So
yeah,
great film.
Just lovely, lovely, accessible work.
Next person on the list, Steve Zaillian. He is just a consummate professional. He's one of the best of the best. If someone wants the top script doctor, even though we like to say they would come to us, we're the much less expensive version of Steve Zaillian. He has punched up, he was like Carrie Fisher, one of the top puncher-uppers in town. But he wrote Schindler's List, Girl with the Dragon Tattoo, and Moneyball. And for me, for both of us who are horrible at numbers, Moneyball explained sports and numbers and was actually a great film.
Anybody that could combine and capture our attention for 2 hours with sports and numbers as your main basis is a magician. So,
Yeah. And I actually fell in love with him during Searching for Bobby Fischer, which is, again, a chess movie. Predated The Queen's Gambit and was a really smart movie about chess. So he can take, he can take a subject like Schindler's List and make it completely engaging. He has a gift for storytelling. So Steve Zaillian's next on my list.
my next one is Nicole Holofcener, who got on my radar with the movie Walking and Talking because it was slice of life. Actually, it was just very mellow, and I just loved her casting and how she had them again speaking like normal people speak. There was just an accessibility and a charm, and she just captures this lovely charm in her movies, I feel like, and friendships. She gets female friendships like nobody I've ever seen.
And she's nice. She's really nice. She's the one who, when I joined the Writers Guild, we all got mentors, and Nicole Holofcener became my mentor. So for a year, I got to email her, and she gave me advice, and we went out to lunch a couple times, and she was so down to earth. And again, that's why we like just paying it back, paying it forward, because if people like Nicole are like, yeah, sure, I'll hang out with you, it means when we become super huge and famous, we'll still hang out with people.
Nicole Holofcener would have made my list in spite of this story, but I was super excited that she got her as a mentor because I think she's super solid.
Speaking of mentors, one of our favorite screenwriters is also a friend. Jenifer Lee is gifted, and sometimes I think people don't give people who write animation enough credit, but some animated films are the greatest films out there, and Jen broke every single barrier with Frozen. It was, it made so much money. Mm-hmm. It was the first movie in my opinion, or maybe just in life, where it wasn't the prince who saved the princess, it was the princess who saved herself and saved her sister. So it became this kind of badass feminist story wrapped up in this beautiful animated film. So she wrote Frozen, she wrote Wreck-It Ralph, she wrote A Wrinkle in Time, but again, just a nice person who's always giving back. She also punches up many scripts, makes them smarter, gives them a heart, and is just a beautiful writer and person.
I mean, Frozen's a thing, and I, because I had kids, I started to have to go to animated movies and stuff, and you start to appreciate the ones that stand out, and Frozen was one. I laughed through the whole thing, and cried, and I just have a newfound appreciation because some of the stuff she's done, and I think that it's not pandering really to children.
No, it's subtle.
It feels like there's a lovely wink and a nod to all the grown-ups who find themselves in the seats next to their kids, and I really appreciate that.
Okay.
Because this is going to be dragging on for a little bit. Maybe we break this up into 2 episodes.
We are going to stop here at the midway point, and you can tune in next week for the other half of our top 10 lists, which will be 10.
Or should we vote on it? Because I vote we just do the whole thing.
I veto.
Well, you can't veto me.
And I vote you're out of order.
I think we'll all surprise you in the edit.
Welcome back to our second half of our top 10 list of our top...
We didn't close out of the last episode.
We did. Oh, and that's it for the first half of our top 10 episodes on Midlife Mutiny. I'm Brooke, and that's Colette. Click!